So Jamie and I have been sitting here all morning talking about the events that happened yesterday. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a political person. And this is my first convention that I probably truly didn't want to come to. But now in light of yesterday's events, I'm actually starting to learn a lot more. And, my husband is the political guru. So my question is, how is this convention different from the other ones that you have been to in the past?
People come to conventions to have fun. They come to listen to a lot of speeches, a lot of policy, and a lot of entertainment. And so it's a lot of fun. But I will tell you, after the events of yesterday, you can see the tone, you can feel the tone of this convention change incredibly to a mission-focused convention where people are no longer talking about seeing big and rich in concert. They're only talking about electing President Donald Trump to the White House on November 5th.
So do you think that they will actually change events that were already scheduled to happen during the convention because of this? Like, will that aspect change?
No, these things are planned and orchestrated long in advance. It will change probably some of the policy, certainly some of the policy questions and the forums and things like that, and what people are talking about is going to change, but the actual events are not likely to change.
So you don't think that people will opt to not celebrate those types of events, go into concerts, go into different, events that other...
There's no question that people are going to continue to go to the events that brought them here in the first place, the ones they registered for, whether it's Morgan Ortagus' national security forum that she's having Wednesday afternoon, or whether it's seeing Byron Donald speak from the convention stage. People are still going to be excited about that, but you can just tell that the mission of this convention changed dramatically after the events of Saturday night.
So how do you think Trump's going to come into this? Do you think, obviously he's going to come in and the crowd's going to go crazy because he's alive, right? It's crazy that he even lived through what happened yesterday, but how do you think, because I think he's scheduled to speak on Thursday, right? So does he come in before that? Does he come in, does he even get a chance to speak? Is it just going to be one of those things where the crowd goes crazy?
So it's not abnormal to have this veil of secrecy about when the president will speak, if he will speak earlier in the convention. He's certainly slated to speak and accept the nomination to be the Republican nominee for president on Thursday night. That's still going to happen. The question now becomes, does he come on stage Monday at 5 in the afternoon to kick off the convention? Does he wave to the crowd? Does he speak to the crowd? So there's a little bit of excitement about when and how Donald Trump shows up on stage before convention goers.
So what about like us being here? With this being my first convention and all this happening, I can't deny that I'm nervous about, being in this vicinity and, being in a building that who knows what could possibly happen, right? So what are your thoughts on security and how they're going to protect us?
I've been around presidential campaigns and presidents, and there was a breakdown in security yesterday. That needs to be investigated. I'm not going to go so far as to say that there's some inside conspiracy to hurt Donald Trump or anything like that, but the security here is tight. Security around conventions are tight. They normally keep convention goers and protesters a safe distance apart from one another. That's certainly the case here in Milwaukee. We are in what they're calling the soft zone, and we can overlook our hotel window here, and there's a bridge going across to the other side of Milwaukee, and that's the outside the security zone. And the cars are, keep turning to go down the bridge, and it's barricaded with concrete barricades. So you are not going to get into this area, the soft zone, without some level of security clearance, and you're certainly not going to get into what they're calling the hard security zone without security clearance. So I believe that this is going to be a safe convention. I expect it to go off without incident, and I'm certainly looking forward to everything that's going on here in Milwaukee this week.
So do you think that, and this may be a stupid question, but just because I don't know, so when the motorcade comes in, do you think they'll have the streets cleared? Will we have to all be inside?
You're talking about the motorcade for the president?
Yeah.
So the short answer is I don't know that they're ever going to get everybody inside. So generally in these things, you have a secure area where the motorcade drives to, probably under the convention center. I'm not familiar with the security here at this convention center, but normally there is a secure area where the president gets in and out of the car, and all of that's planned in advance, and I'm sure that has been tightened, and security has been, awareness is certainly heightened here in Milwaukee this week.
So circling back to the mission focus thing, what do you think, what missions change? Because if the RNC's here, they already have the feeling that Trump is going to be elected. You know, everybody's going on that notion that he's going to be elected. But what missions would actually change?
Yeah, so the mission, it may be determination, right? So we know that polling in swing states has been in President Trump's favor for the foreseeable, for the past few months, certainly since the beginning of the year, and that has only grown since Biden's debate debacle and the Democratic fraudulent cover-up of Biden's health conditions. And but the truth of the matter is that the polling's only moved a couple of points in Donald Trump's favor. Biden has lost favor among voters, and this is certainly an opportunity. The convention is an opportunity for Donald Trump to expand the electorate, get more people to register to vote, get more people motivated to go vote. And the focus here, I think that there's a level of determination that this convention isn't just about nominating the President of the United States anymore. It's about electing the President of the United States and electing Donald Trump the President of the United States.
So watching the videos yesterday, a lot of what I'm reading is, people can't believe that Trump stood up and, they weren't covering his head and stuff like that. What are your thoughts? Because I know for me, I was like, I'm a Pittsburgh girl. So when I saw that happen, it reminded me of when Ben Roethlisberger got hit and he was down on the field for such a long time. And as they were wheeling him off on the gurney, he, gave us a thumbs up, and the crowd went crazy because then they knew that he was okay. I felt that same feeling yesterday when Trump did that. Like he was shot. We didn't know the severity at that point, but he gave that, the fist pump up, and we knew that he was somewhat okay, maybe in shock and adrenaline and everything, but we knew that he was okay. What are your thoughts on him doing that?
He stood up with his fist and yelled fight. That is a natural reaction. That's not pre-planned. That's not something that someone can shoot at you when you're not trained at being shot at or in that mindset of being shot at and come up. So of course, Donald Trump, a lot of people don't really realize this, but he's a really tall man. He's 6'4", 6'5", and so when he stands taller than most people anyway, and so but when I talk to some of my combat veteran friends, they said you sometimes don't know what kind of man you have next to you, or man or woman you have next to you, until they're under fire, and then you see their response and you know which ones you want next to you the next day. And this one particular combat veteran told me, he's like, you could tell that Trump is somebody you want next to you the next day, because when you pop up and your initial reaction is, I'm not going to cower, I'm going to go fight. And he stood up against all the training that they gave him as president, is always duck your head and get in the car. And he didn't do that. He knew it was, I don't know that it was pre-planned in his head, but that he wanted to let that crowd know that somebody took their best shot and missed, and that he's still there, he's still standing for us, he's still going to go fight for us, and he's going to continue this race and win the presidency of the United States.
So what are your final thoughts on this convention and the week that we're going to have here?
I think it's going to be a really interesting convention with a heightened level of security and awareness, but it is good to see the determination in people's face that that number one, there's still work to be done. The election's a long ways away. The Democrat National Convention is still almost a month away. And, Joe
Well,
Biden,
can I ask you a question about that? How do you think their convention is going to change based on what happened yesterday?
there will be heightened security. I mean,
As far as maybe their mission. So does their mission change?
Their convention's a little bit of a farce anyway, because they have to nominate Joe Biden via Zoom call because they decided to play politics with the timing of their convention rather than being having their convention at a practical time when they could nominate their nominee, and then their goal all
Why
along,
do they have to do a Zoom call?
because of ballot access in Ohio, but their goal all along was to make this a short sprint for president because they felt like Joe Biden in his impaired condition could win a short sprint. So they wanted to have their convention as close to Labor Day as possible and then just sprint from Labor Day to Election Day and really shorten the election. And with Biden's debate debacle, the election really is longer than what Biden and his team wanted it to be. We have a month from this convention till the next convention, and their convention is really not really anything because Joe Biden will already be nominated president via Zoom. Kamala Harris will already be nominated vice president via Zoom, and so they're just getting together in Chicago to have a party. They're not really doing anything at their convention.
So you don't think that yesterday's, sorry, more questions, but so you don't think that yesterday's events will affect them more on pushing Biden to drop out because this yesterday's happenings may have helped Trump in the runnings?
So
is that a possibility?
Prior to the assassination attempt yesterday, Biden had kind of gotten himself back on solid ground. There were a few congressmen, 10 or 15 congressmen. Most of them were from swing districts who were calling for his ouster. But, the big players in the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Bill Clinton, Chuck Schumer, and Barack Obama. It's funny, I saw a reporter call them the five families, but the five families of the Democratic Party, because they do run it like a mob family. So the five families of the Democratic Party have yet to speak in unison to have Joe Biden removed from the nomination of Democrat for President of the United States. And unless all five families move together in unison, Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee.
Okay. Well, I'm sure I'll have more questions later. This is like a typical morning for us having these conversations, but just deciding to videotape them just to show people, how
I think we should do it all week.
I think, I have very simple questions because this is also new to me. So it's fun learning from you. And I think this is good stuff.